Republicans continue to be cherry-picking freaks who adhere to or have any reverence for or loyalty to the Constitution of the United States. They treat the Constitution like they do their Bibles. It's, ooh, this part is good because it's hateful. Ugh, I don't like that because that talks about treating migrants and refugees with respect and valuing kids and valuing the poor. Ugh, I don't like that. That's scary. That's woke stuff in the Bible. It's just cherry picking the things that they like, that justify their hatred and their fear and their paranoia, right? Same goes for the Constitution. And no better example of this I've ever seen in recent memory than what took place last night on Abby Phillip on her show on CNN. I don't know the name of the show. I don't think it's the Abby Phillip show. Her name is not Abby Phillips, by the way. It's Abby Phillip. It's a reminder for myself, too, because it just Abby Phillips rolls off the tongue. So Abby Phillip asked a pointed question of Scott Jennings yesterday about war powers, about who has the power to declare war in this country in our constitutional republic. And Scott Jennings, because the dear leader is in office, flatly answered, the president. He's wrong. He was wrong yesterday. He would have been wrong if he said it during Biden's administration, although he wouldn't have said it during Biden's administration. He most certainly would have said, oh, it's the Congress. The Congress has the power because it's the opposing party. But I want to show you this moment, and then we're going to read through the Constitution, give a little civics lesson here. I can see YouTube videos turning off all over the country, all over the world right now. We don't want a lesson. Here's this moment where Abby Phillip really just hammered home what a dipshit and a dingus Scott Jennings is.
These individual judges are overstepping. What you're essentially saying is that the president, who is the commander in chief, cannot determine when we are being invaded. An individual district court judge is going to decide that? No, thank you.
Can I just ask a simple question? Who gets to decide whether the United States is at war?
The president, in my opinion. No. If we're being invaded, I want the commander in chief to know.
Scott, no. It's actually the Congress.
You're asking if we're being invaded.
I'm asking.
You want to call Congress and see if we're being invaded?
I'm asking a basic constitutional
We'll be taken over before they ever get to the committee room.
Who gets to decide whether the United States is at war? The answer is Congress.
I'm talking about if we're being invaded.
So when the president says we're at war, he has to show we're actively at war. And really what he needs to do is go to Congress.
Well, you guys discuss it in committee. We'll let in another 20 minutes.
Wait a second, though. I thought the genius of our system was that we weren't beholden to one guy's opinion. That the genius of the American system of government was that we had 3 co-equal branches, and in those co-equal branches, decisions were made about how we go about doing things. Now, we want to tear that to shreds so that we can kowtow to one guy's opinion, then we are in a monarchy. We're being ruled.
I think it's the president. If you ask me, it's the president. How did he phrase it? We're going to read from the very document that Scott Jennings has no knowledge of, even though I'm pretty sure he's worked for the federal government at one point or another, worked for the government at some point or another, whether it be working for Mitch McConnell. I don't know if he was just a strategist in that case or actually worked for the Congress. But when you're a federal employee, you raise your right hand, you swear an oath to support and defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. How is it that you can swear an oath to something, a solemn vow, giving your word before God, in Scott Jennings' case, an oath to support and defend a document that you have no knowledge of? Even the most basic things he doesn't understand. Article 1, Section 8, Clause 11 of the United States Constitution lays out the Congress's war powers relative to the executive branch. Article 1 of the Constitution outlines the powers for the Congress. Article 2 outlines the powers of the executive or the presidency. And then Article 3, among all the other articles, outlines the role of the judiciary. It's all lined out. It's all written down. It's all for 200 plus years been the law of the land. If you don't like the Constitution, not if you don't understand it, but if you don't like it, Scott Jennings, there's another part in the Constitution that talks about how to amend the Constitution. But this is Article 1, Section 8 of the United States Constitution. The Congress shall have power to lay and collect taxes, duties, imposts, and excises, to pay the debts and provide for the common defense and general welfare of the United States, but all duties, imposts, and excises shall be uniform throughout the United States. So this is the gist of this Section 8, Article 1. It's that Congress shall have power to blah, blah, blah. And there's several things that they list. It starts with borrow money and the credit of the United States, but it gets down here to the part we're going to talk about. The Congress shall have power to declare war. It's right there, Scotty. It's right there in the Constitution that you act like you know. I think you're a lawyer, right? You would think it would be basic, high school level stuff that you're propagandizing and lying for the sake of the dear leader, because you wouldn't want to say Donald Trump doesn't have the power to declare war, even though it's unconstitutional, the thing you're saying. He does not have the power to declare war. Congress does. Congress shall have the power to raise and support armies, to provide and maintain a navy, to provide for calling forth the militia to execute the laws of the Union, suppress insurrections, and repel invasions, to provide for organizing arming and disciplining the militia, blah, blah, blah. There's a lot that the Congress has a role to play in relative to Army, relative to our Navy, relative to the militias or the National Guard, the organized militias in the United States. It's clear. And look, just because Congress has abdicated its role in the recent years, since 9/11 especially, where they've just shuffled the responsibility to the President of the United States to be able to dispatch troops and deploy units to squash terrorist activity across the globe. If you don't declare war, which is Congress's purview, you shouldn't be able to do that. As outlined by the Constitution, this is not like, this is what I believe. I'm not Scott Jennings just saying, well, I believe it should be this, because that's not how it works either. If you think it should be a certain way, Scott Jennings, dingus, then start a movement to amend the Constitution. I can direct you to where that is in here too. Maybe next time I see you on the street outside the C-SPAN building down there on North Capitol, I have many of these. I could just like throw one out the window at your head so you have a copy. Anyway, what do you think out there? I would love to know. Where have I gone wrong? Where have I misread the Constitution? Article 1, Section 8, Clause 11 of our Constitution. You can tell me in the comments below. You can also call the voicemail line 714-576-4054. And of course, as always, you can email me daily@dollemore.com. Please subscribe if you're not subscribed. If my videos just get served to you and you watch them with any regularity, you obviously get something out of them. Click subscribe, that's free. If you'd like to support my work other than subscribing, and it'll cost you $2 a month, click the join button below, become a channel member for just that, $1.99. Or you can go over to patreon.com/IDoubtItPodcast. I know it seems like not a lot, $2, but if I'm able to marshal the size of my audience and just single-digit percentage of people would have become channel members, we could fundamentally change this operation, grow this operation, become really more difficult to mess with by the Trump administration, which is something it's becoming very clear the farther along we go that that's going to happen. So please consider supporting the work. I would appreciate it very much. You can follow me on social media. I'm at Dollemore just about everywhere. And I will see you next time. Be genuine. Take care of one another.